please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all of your blessings. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for the citizens of Boonville and our staff. Please guide us as we make the best decisions we can for the city of Boonville. Amen.
Amen. Oh, leave the Royals out. I see.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Venable,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Atkinson,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Yoder,
Here.
Coward,
Here.
Harble,
Here.
Elbert.
Here. Thank you. Okay, hearing of citizens' comments. Are there any citizens in the room? I see none. Okay, moving on. Approval of meetings from approval of the meeting minutes from August 19. These are on page 3. There's not any changes or discussion, they will stand as submitted. Okay. Consent items. We can find this on page 6. Amber.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said consent items, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or I'm not
Accounts
following.
and claims, appropriations. Sorry about that.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries in various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on September 3rd, 2024, the sum of $434,824.59. General fund, $149,679.80. Sanitation, $42,171.11. CIP tax, $18,955.93. Waterworks, $102,917.29. Capital projects, $0.00. Wastewater, $83,133.45. Tourism, $13,000.18. Gaming, $12,723.60. Parks and Water, $12,243.23. Kemper sales tax, $0.00. Economic Development Project, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks from the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $434,824.59, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on September 3rd, 2024, read for the second time this September 3rd, 2024, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve this.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harble,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Passes. Thank you. We have no unfinished business. Moving on to new business. Resolution R 2024-13. We're going to authorize and approve a contract with Hydrovac of Missouri LLC for lead service line inventory. Can we do all these together, or we need?
No,
to
we do.
Okay, so we'll do these separate. This is found on page 7.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Hydrovac of Missouri LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri, pertaining to lead service line inventory, and approving change order number 1 to the agreement and providing an effective date therefor. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Hydrovac of Missouri LLC represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Whereas the City of Boonville has received a $200,000 grant from the state of Missouri for completing the lead line survey. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Hydrovac of Missouri LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the lead service line inventory, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof and is hereby approved. Section 2, that change order number 1, the agreement is also approved as part of this resolution, a copy of which is marked Exhibit B, is attached hereto and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and test said agreement on behalf of the city of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution will take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed the first day of April 20.
I should say third.
Anywho. Should say passed this third day of September by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve this ordinance.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Resolution, sorry.
No, second.
Thank you, Brad. Discussion or comment?
Kate, can you give a brief overview of the scope of this work, please?
Yeah, so this is for the excavation only of the inventory lines that are remaining in the city limits for the lead service line that we have to do at the, within the city limits and all of our other customers, so the few that we have outside too. And if you recall, we've already done all the history, we've done all the records, research and everything, so this is excavation only. And we do have $200,000 that the state has given us, so when the bid came in at the 144 number, we went back and a few that we had statistically excluded, we asked them to go ahead and excavate, because ultimately you have to do it all at some point in time, so since we are not having to put any money into this project, we thought we might as well use all $200,000 the state offered.
So, this is for excavating actual ones, like instead of like inventorying, right? It's just the excavation.
Yeah, and they'll finish the survey portion, or are we doing the data entry? We're doing the data, so they're just gonna excavate and report to the staff.
I mean,
It's PEX, it's whatever.
yeah, that's like $181 per. That's pretty cheap. I have direct knowledge of a couple of these companies that lost bids, and I really don't care for them, so I may need to abstain from this one. So,
Of hydrovac?
yeah, other bids.
I mean, you have to ask Brad, but your choice, but,
They're direct contractors for Socket.
oh,
The other bids?
Yes.
Oh, well then, those,
Well, I didn't look at the other bids. When it came to me, it was the issue with the proposed change order. And that was when we realized we had an extra $200,000 to spend.
Yeah.
And we had already prepared and accepted what Hydrovac had prepared for us. We went back to them after we realized we still had a $200,000 window and said, since we're gonna have to have this other work done, can we go ahead and include that in? And they said they'd be happy to add it in because we're ultimately gonna have to do that anyway. So was your issue with Hydrovac or with some of the
It
other?
is not with Hydrovac.
Is what?
It is not with Hydrovac.
Yeah, I mean, this one was the one that we were most comfortable with. And then when we found out that we actually had $200,000 extra, we said, hey, we're ultimately gonna need this, can we include it? Because like Kate said, this was funding that was given to us, so we could add it in the change order so that we could move forward with this, kind of get a head
if
start.
he does business with his company, with the other competitors, can he still vote? That's his question.
The question, does Hydrovac still do work with?
Well, one of the other companies I actually hired specifically, and they do probably $20,000 in business every 2 weeks with me for Socket. So, I don't know if that's effective or.
I'm not sure I understand the question though.
I mean, since one of the people not winning the bid is somebody that works for me now,
He's asking. him
does
to
that
abstain.
allow me to bid on?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought.
To vote on
If he has
this?
a
or not?
conflict of interest.
Yeah, because we were at the point was, do we have any discussion? We hadn't had do we had a motion?
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
I would suggest, I would say safer than sorry to abstain, because we still have a quorum, we can still pass. I think just in case that were to ever come up.
Okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Yeah, just probably a good use of the funds. If we have them available, let's knock out everything that we can in one fell swoop.
Yep.
So it makes everything much more efficient.
Yep.
If you remember correctly, just to give you back history, this thing started with 3,000 plus service lines, and the city got this down to 800. And we were looking at one point as $700,000 of city funds towards this, and now you're down to 0
Excellent.
because of the city's efforts. So I
Excellent.
commend the city and their staff.
Absolutely.
Will there be notifications to the affected residents?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of
Okay, just
notifications.
making sure. Yeah, just making sure.
There'll be door hangers and
Okay,
everything else.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure everyone knew kind of what was going on, so thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Amber?
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
Harville,
Abstain.
Abstain. Gilbert,
Yes.
Andrew.
didn't I say? Oh, guess what? You're left, you're not voting. You're left out. I don't know why it does that.
I choose to vote.
I'm guessing you're a yes.
I'm a yes.
Okay. I don't know why it does that.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sorry.
good work by the city. Excellent job, Kate and all your team. Okay, new business, item B. First and second reading of bill number 2024-013, amending hours of one-way restriction on 7th Street due to Scrivener's error. This is on page 10 and 11.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the ordinance which designates the time for the one-way traffic restriction on 7th Street, newly approved restricted hours of 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Monday through Friday on those days when St. Peter and Paul School is held, corrected due to a Scrivener's error, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Whereas on May 20th, 2024, under ordinance number 4668, the City Council approved the one-way traffic restriction on a section of 7th Street, updating the specific hours and direction of travel on days that St. Peter and Paul School were in session. And whereas the restricted afternoon hours listed were inadvertently copied over from a previous ordinance, and whereas this amendment reflects the corrected updated hours for the one-way traffic restriction on section of 7th Street. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1, to amend the one-way traffic restriction on 7th Street from its point of intersection with Locust Street to its point of intersection with East Spring Street to be designated as one-way in a northerly direction from the hours of 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday on those days while school is held, to correct the Scrivener's error. Section 2, it shall be unlawful for a person to operate a motor vehicle in the above referenced designated area of 7th Street during said time interval in a southerly direction. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force after its passage and approval. Section 4, that all ordinances or parts of this ordinance in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. First reading, September 3rd, 2024, read for the second time and passed on this third day of September 2024. After a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first and second readings.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the ordinance which designates the time for the one-way traffic restriction on 7th Street, newly approved restricted hours of 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and those days when St. Peter and Paul School is held, corrected due to the Scrivener's error, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Amber. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve this.
Thank you, Brad. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Whitney. Discussion?
What about St. Peter and Paul? They might have basketball games up there. Do we want to make that a one-way street on those days too, or just not worry about it?
I think it's fine on the days that it has a basketball game. It's primarily just to allow the kids who are dismissing and all the traffic going in one direction.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Further discussion? Amber?
Oh, hold on, gotta flip my page. Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
Marvel,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Passes, thank you. Item C, first reading of bill number 2024-014, electing changes under Missouri Local Government Employees Retirement System or loggers. This is found on page 13.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, electing changes under the Missouri Local Government Employees Retirement System for city employees, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you. Report of standing committees. I believe there are none. Report of city officials, city administrator.
I don't have anything in particular. I just wanted to say that if anybody has any questions about the loggers, the report is still on the city website, so you can see the increased cost associated with moving to the 2 modifier. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to email or call me or Brad or Teresa or any of us, and we'll try to get to them and then share them out before the next meeting, just so everybody's understanding what we're committing to.
Great, thank you. Anything else? Mayor Pro Tem, so if you will flip to page 16. Oh, and you have a flyer on your desk. If you flip to the back page, yeah, this one's updated. So you can see that we have 5 folks that are going to be joining our new creation of the airport board. So we had a lot of very good discussions with users and citizens regarding the airport use, airport expansion, and areas of improvement. A lot of things came out of that, but one of the things that we did decide on was to get the airport board started again and add these 5 members to the board. All these 5 people have accepted. There might be some familiar names on here. Some of these people have served in other capacities in the city. Some are users of the airport. Some are former city council people, so we have a diverse group of people here. This is the kind of just starting as we get the airport board up and rolling, but we'll have meetings and schedule cadence and all of that kind of stuff. Yes, Steve?
So are any of these members pilots?
Yes, so Logan Pfeiffer is a pilot.
Okay. And will there be
Wait,
more?
let's pause there. Do we have a motion before we get into discussion?
So moved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
So are these going to be only 5, or will there be other?
So right now, we're capping it at 5.
Okay.
I'm going to represent the city as the board representative. Teresa is going to be the city representative on the board, non-voting members, but if you include us, there's 7 people that are committed to the board.
So will there be a point where they can have a member on there that is a non-Boonville citizen?
Yes, not everyone listed here is a citizen of the city of Boonville. Are they all citizens?
No, Logan is not.
Yeah, so not everyone on this
Oh,
list is
really?
a citizen.
Okay, they're just all familiar.
And that was something that we had talked about in the past. So there's a lot of people that use the airport that are not only citizens, so we wanted to open it up to people that were not strictly citizens of the city of Boonville.
Good.
I have a motion, I have a second. Yes, Barry?
Yes, I'd like to ask you a question. We voted against it, getting rid of the airport board and cemetery board, but now we want to bring back the airport board. Why can't we bring back the cemetery board?
I think just as a point of clarification, this is actually an ad hoc committee. So it's not, and we're not reestablishing the ordinance for the airport board itself. So if and when there's a time on the cemetery that there's an issue or a project that needs to be done, there would be no reason that we couldn't create a cemetery ad hoc board if that was needed.
But my question again is, we voted against to get rid of the airport board and cemetery board. Do we need to make a motion to bring that board back?
No, you actually voted to approve eliminating the airport and the cemetery board. And again, this is just an ad hoc committee, so it's similar to, there's already the Kemper committee is an ad hoc, and the local agency funding is an ad hoc, which doesn't require an ordinance. It's really just, it's sort of temporary or short term. Sometimes they're long standing, they're reappointed year after year, but they're not established by ordinance.
So somewhere down the line, will we do that?
So-
I would think that if it was this recommendation of this
Yeah.
board, that could be done.
So, when Kate and City Hall approached me about the issues or what was the next step after the presentation before the council, from public comments about airport, we need to revisit this, there's some issues, and they approached me, I had discouraged immediately going into ordinance drafting to reestablish a standing committee at this point, but we needed to act quickly to say, okay, let's address some of these concerns that were out there. That's why we chose to move forward with an ad hoc committee, because we could set this up quickly, just so we could actually address some of the current issues. So Barry, to your comment, there's nothing stopping us down the road if we wanted to revisit cemetery board, but we would probably approach it in a similar fashion. So we wouldn't have to draft an ordinance, reestablish a standing committee, and address the immediate concerns. The reason we're doing this one now is because I think several council meetings ago was when there were some issues, some concerns, there was enough interest in, okay, let's put together an ad hoc board now and see where we go if it develops back into something, which it may not, but at least now we're addressing the current issues.
Yes.
There's nothing stopping us from revisiting the cemetery board at a later date as well.
Yeah, and the main goal of this was really to give users of the airport, citizens around the airport, anyone that we want to give them a place to go where they can talk to a board, talk to people that are involved, and then they can bring our feedback here to council. So it organizes it much easier. It kind of gets away from public comment, so then we can really do some long-term planning on the airport board. So that was kind of the background as to why we wanted to do this ad hoc committee. We'll see how it goes.
And also just to clarify too, even though it's an ad hoc, all these meetings are still open to the public, just like any other meeting, and it will provide time for public comment. So it's not like because it's ad hoc, it's closed.
Yeah. Yes.
How did we choose the 5 people?
So we had a pool of people that we had either known through City Hall of being participants, or we had relationships with some of these people when we reach out. These 5 people are the ones that accepted. I don't know how many we asked, but there was a diverse group of people from all walks of life, if you will. These were the 5 that accepted the appointment. So.
Okay.
So are these the first 5 or middle 5 or second 5?
I'm not positive about that, Barry. Yeah.
It was limited to Cooper County residents too. I just wanna, even though we opened it not just the city, we still maintained it, keeping people from Cooper County.
Okay. Do we have to vote on? I actually did motion, so we do need to vote now. So Amber, roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes. And we'll have updates on that as we meet. City clerk,
Nothing.
city councilor.
I just wanted to echo briefly what Kate had talked about in regards to the loggers issue that's going to come up for a second reading. If there are any questions with any of the paperwork or the details, let someone within City Hall or myself know so we can address those before we get to the second reading. I think Teresa made a good presentation. Several council meetings ago, we followed the state statute to put the things out there. The information's been out there for 45 days now. So the information is available. If you read Kate's memo, what we're doing is consistent with what I think we ought to be doing legally, protecting our current employees, keeping them safe as they move forward, and becoming more attractive to future employees. But I just want to stress that if there are issues, I'd rather address them between now and the second reading than have a long discussion unless it's after something that's in debate at that point. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Brad. Miscellaneous?
Yeah, just,
Yes, I.
2 things. One, on the percentages on loggers, is there any way we can get kind of towns around us? And I know you've probably already talked about this, but.
Yeah, well, I shared it with you guys back when we talked about it. I'll dig back out the
That's like in
third-class cities. Yeah.
I knew Columbia was like 4. I guess.
2 is as high as you can go. There used to be a program for 2.6.
Yeah.
Which, like old MU employees are actually under 2.6, but 2 is as high
Oh,
as you
it's
can go
4.
now.
I can't,
But I will dig back out I'll dig it back out and see if I can find
I
it.
think most
Oh,
of
look,
them,
Andrew's already found it.
I found a list of everyone in the entire state. There's a lot that are up to two factor.
There's a
if,
lot,
if
yeah.
we can share that, that would be really good.
Yeah, this was sent in an email, on, as I lose it, 6 months ago. So it was during budget
Yeah, I
session.
think
Okay.
I sent, I'll find it and I'll resend it.
Just in case I'm questioned, I want to say, yes, we've looked at all of the areas around us. The other question I had was that, I guess, we finally got rid of the house on 6th Street. Is that accurate?
What'd you say?
Did we do something with the house on 6th?
We cleaned it, we finished cleaning up for him today.
Okay, good.
The cabin.
the cabin.
I thought it was still all over the ground.
We started, I'm not saying
Oh,
we
did you?
finished, but we, yes,
Oh,
we went
good.
out today to get
Good.
started.
Excellent, all right.
Good.
I've got a quick thing too.
Yes, Brett.
So I was approached by a neighbor who received a grass tall weed ordinance or letter telling them to take care of the tall weeds there at their house. My question is, what exactly is the measuring stick we use to decide who and when these letters get sent out?
So there's 2 ways that we do violations. One is that code enforcement staff, they divide the city into 2 or 3 parts, and they actually drive it every week.
Okay.
They do the whole city. And so if they identify something, then they will cite it on a routine inspection. So I would say of our things, probably 70% are just routine inspections. So we're out and about and we see the lawn, we see the weeds, whatever it is, the debris, the trash, cars. The other ones, the other 25%, and it might be a little higher on that too, come from a complaint. And so people call and complain about their neighbors or the house they drive past every day on their way to school or whatever, and they tell us that it's, again, same thing, what the issue is. And so when they do that, then when our staff is out doing the routine, they have that address noted to go and inspect it.
Okay, all right, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. We do not have a closed session.
No.
No.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye, aye, aye.